Welcome back, lottery fans. Today I'm going to be doing a super simple pick 3 rundown for you all and show you exactly how I do it so you can go ahead and replicate this at home. It's easy to do, everyone can do it, and you can go ahead and do these numbers for your state. First of all, I'm going to start off with our lottery pick 3 rundown worksheet. This is available for free for you on lotterypredictor.com. Just go to the website and go ahead and go to the resources section and you'll find this. But I'm going to show you how to walk through this worksheet, how to fill out all the different sections, and then you'll be able to go ahead and get your numbers for your pick 3 lottery that you're going to want to go ahead and play. I'm going to show you two examples. I'm going to show you one with the mirror numbers and one with the flip numbers, so you know how to use both. And then of course you can go ahead and do your own with this sheet. So let's go ahead and start off with our first one. The first one we're actually going to do is for the New York lottery. And as you know, if you're in New York, your New York lottery is called the numbers lottery, and it's pick 3. So it's called some people call it the pick 3 numbers. Some people just call it pick 3. And today is the 14th of April. So we're going to make sure we do this for the 14th of April. But you can do this for any day. Now, the way I start off is I start off with the first 3 numbers here. Those are important to get. And you can really use any numbers, but what I find works best is taking the last 3 drawings. So if we can go ahead and look up what the last 3 drawings are for the New York Lottery, which of course you can find on lotterypredictor.com, we'll find a 170, and this is the evening lottery, by the way, the 806, and the 879. So we're starting off with our 3 numbers here, and we're going to put these into our grids here, and I'll show you how to fill out each of these grids. We're going to start with our base grid, and it's very simple. You just take each number and put them horizontally across in the grid. So we start with the 170, put a 170, so we have that number across here. Our second number, an 806 across horizontally there, and then our last number, an 879. So there we go, filled in our grid, just sequentially putting down each of those numbers that we have there. Now the translated grid is the one where it becomes interesting. Now you can use your mirror numbers or your flip numbers. We're going to do this first one with the mirror numbers, and I'll show you another one right after this with the flip numbers. So all you do is you take each of these numbers, and then using this cheat sheet here, the number on the top correlates to the one on the bottom. So we take the number on the top, which is a number 1. This is number 1 here. Right underneath it is the number 6. So we fill in a number 6 on the translated grid in the same spot. Next number is a 7. 7 on the top here. Underneath it is a 2. So we put a 2 there. 0 is the next one. 0 is on our mirror numbers. Underneath it is a 5. So we put a 5 there. And we just keep going down, doing the same thing over and over, filling in our grid. So 8 becomes a 3. 0 we know becomes a 5. 6 becomes a 1. 8 we know, oops, I made a mistake here. This should be a 3. 8 we know becomes a 3. 7 becomes a 2. And 9 becomes a 4. So we've got our filled in grid here. So these 2 grids are now mirrored. It's what we call mirrored. And if you're smart and know a little bit about math, you'll know that actually each of these is just a +5. So it's very simple to remember if you don't want to have to look it up here. So now that we've got our 2 grids, we can go ahead and get our suggested numbers to play. Now, the way I do this is I pick a pattern on the base grid, and then I apply it to the same on the translated grid and pick 3 sets of numbers from each grid. And I like to go with the 2 diagonals. So I'll go with a diagonal here, which gives me a 109. I'll go with a diagonal here, which gives you a 008. And then I go straight down the middle, which gives me a 707. And these are some very nice looking numbers here. And then I go ahead and do exactly the same on the translated grid. So I do a diagonal here, which gives me the 654. I do a diagonal here, which gives me a 553. And then straight down the middle, which gives me a 252. And that's it. These are the 6 numbers then that I'm going to go ahead and start playing if I was in New York and playing the evening numbers game in New York. So very simple way of doing it here. Let me show you another example though, just so that you have a good following. Of course, you can always go ahead and grab this sheet from lotterypredictor.com in the resources section so you can follow along. And we're going to do the same date. We're going to do the 14th, because that's what today is. And this one we're going to do Michigan. As I said, you can do any state. You can just go ahead and grab your numbers. And I've looked up the last 3 lottery drawings in the Michigan Evening Pick 3. There was a 4, 6, 4, an 8, a 6, 9, 7, and a 2, 9, 8. So those are our 3 last drawings in the Michigan Lottery. And as I said, you can play any numbers you really want here. You know, if you want to play every Sunday, you can go ahead and pick the last 3 Sundays. If you want to play every other day, pick every other day, etc. These numbers are really up to you what you want to play here. I always just like to go with the last 3 because it creates a nice ongoing repetition there. All right, so we put these in our base grids. Once again, we'll start the 4, 6, 4. We'll put 4, 6, and 4 across the top. The second one down is a 6, 9, 7. So we'll put 6, 9, and 7 down there. And then the last one is 2, 9, and 8. Now, this time I mentioned we were going to use our flip numbers here. So the last one we used the mirror numbers. This time we're going to use the flip numbers. And it's exactly the same process as you did the first time. We take our first number here in our top left box, a 4, and we're going to fill in the flip number here in the top left box on the translated grid. So we'll look up on the top line. The top line is always what's in our base grid. The bottom line is what's in the translated grid. So our first number is a 4. Underneath it is a 7. So we'll put a 7 here. Looking up 6 for the next number. 6 underneath it's a 9. So put a 9 in here. 4 again is 7, as we know, because 4 and 7 right there. So put a 7 here. Move down to the next line. We've got a 6. A 6 goes to a 9. A 9 goes to a 2. And a 7 goes to a 0. Last line, same pattern again. 2 goes to a 5, so we'll put a 5 here. 9 goes to a 2, so put a 2 here. And 8 goes to a 1, so put a 1 here. Now, once again, for those mathematically inclined of you, you'll notice that flip numbers are just adding 3 to each number. So whereas mirror numbers were adding 5 to each number, flip numbers are just adding 3 to each number. Super simple math formula if you don't want to have to look up on here all of the time. And then once again, you can go ahead and you can apply either the same pattern that we used last time. So last time we used kind of a star pattern going diagonally across and down. But it's really up to you what you want to do. That's the pattern I like to follow. You don't have to stick with it. So let's do something different here. We might want to say, so we filled in our numbers horizontally. So let's go and pick all of our numbers moving down. So we've got a 4, 6, 2, a 6, 9, 9, and a 4, 7, 8. And then once again on the translated grid, we do the same patterns. Make sure you always use the same pattern on both grids. So if you start with a star pattern here, do a star pattern here. If you start with straight down here, do straight down here. If you're doing corners here, do corners here. You know, the pattern has to stay consistent between the 2 grids here. So we've got a 795, a 922, and a 701. And that's it. That's as simple as that. So for tonight in the Michigan Pick 3 Evening Lottery, these are the 6 numbers that we can go ahead and play. All right, hopefully that was easy for you to follow along. As I said, you can grab this tip sheet here from Lottery Predictor. The fun thing is you can actually go to lotterypredictor.com as well, and I do have some of these rundowns already done for you for your state. Just go to your state and go to the grid section, and you'll probably see these as well. But if you'd like to do these on your own, definitely could do these. I'll be back with some more rundowns. We'll try some different styles. We'll do some pick 4, and then I'll show you some more complex rundowns and mathematics later on as well. But this is the absolute simplest pick 3 rundown grid that you can do. Anyone can do it at home, so definitely go ahead and give it a try. All right, as always, make sure you follow me. If you're not following, make sure you leave a comment down below. You know, just maybe say what your state is. That way when I'm doing examples, I can use your state. And of course, if you know someone that plays the lottery, go ahead and share this with them as well so they can enjoy the fun. All right, that's it for today. I will be back later with more. In the meantime, take care and good luck with the lottery. Bye.